What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? I would like to welcome you all to another edition of Wayne's Perspective, where we operate in discipline, decency, integrity, and respect. I'm coming through with another video just for you. All right. Today we have another reaction video. As you can tell by the title, this should be a very good one. But before I get started, I just want to preface this to the Black conservatives, my brothers and my sisters. Okay, all right. Let me talk to you for a second. Okay, now I know politically we may disagree on some things, okay, but if anything, I wanted to do this video, another one talking about the Black vote, because even though I am a registered Democrat, a future politician, I do plan to run for office in the future, get my starter in the Virginia House of Delegates, but the ultimate goal is to be elected to the United States House of Representatives. So yeah, as you know, I got my political goals and aspirations and things like that, you know. However, I wanted to do this video basically because when it comes to the right wing aspects of the Republican Party and the extreme elements and Fox News and everything else that comes along with that, that extreme MAGA wing, um, I have no justifications in terms of why anybody, especially us, why we would support such movements and why we would support this party. Now, I get it. The Democrats are not perfect. The Republicans are not perfect either. We can always sit down and have a discussion. And like I always said, everybody should be doing more, And yes, of course, for our community, yes, I get that, but for everybody as well. So it shouldn't just be up to just one party. Now, I get it, the Democrats are most closely associated with Black people. But like I just said, we could all do more. So I'm not in the boat, so to speak, of, you know, um, the Democrats don't do this, don't do that. The only thing that I would meet you halfway on is the Democrats should do more. But then, like I just said, the Republicans should do more too. And it's just when it comes to certain things regarding the conservative elements of the party, the Republican Party, that is, I can't get down with certain things. And like I said in previous videos, if y'all, my brothers, my sisters, if y'all want to fall on, y'all saw it for the likes of Donald Trump, whereas he wouldn't do that same thing for you. If you want to support this guy and his policies just because you're in your feelings about the Democrats, or just because you feel it may be something in it for you, if you want to take that stance, go right ahead. But I'm not taking that stance. And the only thing that I'll give Donald Trump credit for, as I tell my story, is that guy motivated me to pursue a career in politics. That's the only thing I ever give him credit for. I'm not going to give him credit for anything else. When he was in office, if he signed certain things or whatever, he did what the hell he was supposed to do. He don't get no continuous praise or enthusiastic praise just because he did his damn job when he was supposed to do his job. Because I guarantee you, if it was up to him, he wouldn't sign no damn stimulus packages or anything like that. And so what if he pardoned Lil Wayne? So what if he pardoned Kodak Black and all of that? So what? you know, just because he do those few little things, that does not mean he's down with the Black experience. Doesn't mean anything. You know, the only time that would make a difference is if it was a consistent thing, then okay, maybe we can have a discussion about that. But it hasn't been consistent, and this guy has showed who he is over the years. And I'll say one more thing before I get into this video. Well, no, I take that back. Two more things. I remember listening to somebody's video on YouTube a few months back, and somebody put a comment. I believe either it was a super chat on somebody's channel or it was in the comment section, and somebody said that, and I'm paraphrasing here. Somebody said that, only when he became president, that's when people decided to claim that he was racist. Now, I disagree with that because it was out there long before he became president, but some people just chose not to see it, And like they said, when you're in the White House, that shows who you are. And during that 4-year era, it showed us exactly who he is, and why anybody would want to entertain the thought of putting that guy back in the White House is beyond me, and it should be beyond everybody who has some respect for the office of the White House, you know. So I just wanted to mention that part. And secondly, I was listening to a Roland Martin episode a few years back, and there was a black man on there. I believe he was conservative at the time. I don't think he's switched his allegiance. I would like to go back and try to find that clip if I could. But he started the show, and I'm paraphrasing here too. He was like, you know, recognize that when it comes to the black conservatives, there's not many of us. And I chuckled a bit. I said, good luck getting them, you know. Oh, no, I take that back. He said, there's not that many black conservatives, and he basically tried to do a little pitch like, you know, we need more like them. You know, we need more black conservatives. And I did chuckle. I said, good luck getting them, you know, and I still feel that way today. But like I said, you know, that's my whole thing, you know. So I just wanted to preface this video by saying all that before I finally get into the video that I'm going to react to. Now, this one is courtesy of the Defiant Lawyers channel. I believe that's a father and a daughter who runs this channel. So shout out to them. They are black. Follow them if you get a chance. They do some real good content where they deep dive in politics and everything related. So shout out to them. This one came out a month ago, well, almost a month ago, back on March 18th, 2024. So almost 2 months ago. So like I said, shout out to them. They do some real good videos. And when I saw this the first time, I was like, you know what? Yeah, one day I may come back and do a reaction video to it. So this is going to be a lengthy one. So grab your snacks for this one. So I'm going to have some thoughts as well, you know. So again, shout out to the Defiant Lawyers channel as well. Fair usage for the video, fair usage. I'm going to go ahead and get started. Share my screen. All right, so here we go, y'all.
Very effective at radicalizing white male rage. I'm going to talk to you about why he does that so well. Stay with me. Hello, everybody. This is Attorney Augustus Corbett. I'm one half of the Defiant Lawyers, and each and every week, we bring you at least one legal analysis of some story trending regarding politics, policies, personalities, or pop culture to empower you and equip you with the information you need to defy an unjust legal system and to nullify systemic racism. If that interests you, and I surely hope it does, please like, share, comment, subscribe, and click the bell. Okay, so let's get into this. Yes, I got to give Trump some credit. Got to give him some credit. He is extremely effective at radicalizing white male rage against Black progress.
Did y'all hear that?
I'm going to show you why he's so effective at doing this. And I'm going to show you why we must do something about it, because they are certainly taking from us precious rights, and they have not finished. They are on the march. And I've been warning you, I've been telling you, I've been sharing videos with you, trying to get you to understand why we must take this threat from Trump and MAGA and the GOP and these angry white men, these angry, fearful white men. We must take this seriously. I've been talking to you about it. You know I have. And some of you, for example, I did a video on Martin Luther King Jr.'s birthday, this past birthday. And I talked about how this whole colorblindness and reverse discrimination, how they're using those two things in concert with the 14th Amendment to roll back precious laws. I did another video where I talked about how they're trying to gut the Civil Rights Act of 1964. And some of you said things like, well, let them have it, let them do it. It doesn't matter. That's probably going to be good for us. And I you know what I said to myself? I said, they don't understand.
Exactly. Now, let me stop it right there. Now, when it comes to such landmark legislation like that, now coming from us as Black people, why would we have such a, what's the word I'm looking for? Why would we have such a dismissive stance towards that, let them have it or whatever? Like, I don't get that, because our people went through hell and high water. Some even died, not just for us to have the right to vote, but for us to even get such legislation like that. So I do not get why people will have such a dismissive attitude towards that, because then again, if it's taken off the books, if it's repealed, then what? You know, is it going to be a situation where it's like, okay, well, it's gone, okay, it's not my problem? Then we're going to have to go through even more hell and high water to get it to come back, if you will. So I just don't understand that line of thinking. Are you mad at the Democrats that much, where certain pieces of legislation, it don't matter if it's gone or not? Let them have it. It doesn't matter. Like, I just do not get that line of thinking. It's just so, it's irresponsible, it's dangerous, and it's very, very dismissive of the work that people did back in the 60s to even get us to a point where a president was able to sign such things into law. Because if it's repealed and taken away, then what you gonna do? In my Tupac voice from Juice, then what you gonna do? Let's keep it moving, y'all.
They just don't understand. They're speaking out of a lack of knowledge. Despite me taking my time to explain these things to them, they still don't get it. So what do I have to do? I have to keep saying it. I have to keep saying it, have to keep repeating myself until the bell goes off. Because
Right.
I am not going to sit back and do nothing while Trump and, again, MAGA and the GOP just roll back precious civil rights that affect our lives as African American people. I am not going to sit back and let that happen. I want to begin with the recommendation of a good book. Actually, I recommended this book in my last video, but I'm going to use Dr. Kara Anderson's book again, one of her books again, here to talk about this white rage and how Trump uses this white rage. Yes, Dr. Carol Anderson, PhD, a professor at Emory University. Dr.
I need to check that out, that book right there. I need to
Anderson
get
has written several books that I recommend you get all of them and read all of them. She is a very prolific historian, and she tells history in a way and from a perspective that we as African Americans can use it. I think it was Wilmer Leon, Dr. Wilmer Leon, say that you study history, not just to study history, but to understand the present. And then you can map out the future. So if you don't know
no
history,
question.
you don't understand why you're where you are now. And if you don't
Right.
understand where you are now, then how can you possibly plan for the future? So having an accurate understanding of African American history and American history, which are really two and the same thing, then you cannot understand where we are right now. I did a video a couple of weeks ago about the Southern strategy. And most people don't know what the Southern strategy is, most Black people in particular.
I'm going to put that link in the description box along with the link to this video as well. So let's
That's
keep
why
it
I
moving,
did that
y'all.
video, so that you can see which of these political parties is most hostile toward African Americans today. So I focus on history because we need to understand where we are today. So Dr. Anderson says here, white rage is not about visible violence, but rather it works its way through the courts, the legislatures, and a range of government bureaucracies. It wreaks havoc subtly, almost imperceptibly, too imperceptibly certainly, for a nation consistently drawn to the spectacular, to what it can see. It's not the Klan. White rage doesn't have to wear sheets, burn crosses, or take to the streets. Work in the halls of power, it can achieve its ends far more effectively, far more destructively. In my Washington Post op-ed, therefore, I set out to make white rage visible, to blow graphite onto that hidden fingerprint and trace its historic movements over the past 100 years. So let's stop and understand what Dr. Anderson is telling us. She's saying that white rage is different from this blatant, angry, public, white anger that we see, for example, with groups like the Nazis. No, white rage is much more subtle. It's in the halls of Congress. It's in corporate boardrooms. It's at school board meetings. It's in the shadow, if you will, being financed by dark money to implement anti-Black policies that hurt worse than a Klan member burning a cross on your yard. All right. So she's letting us know that although we can't see the white rage, it certainly has a huge impact on the Black community. She says the trigger for white rage is Black advancement, Black progress. So when Barack Obama is elected to the White House and then reelected, that is going to bring about white rage, white backlash, and you're going to begin to see anger and fear amongst white men in particular. And they're going to begin to implement policies and start doing everything they can to try to prevent more Black progress. We saw that with the Voting Rights Act and how they gutted it in 2013 in the Shelby County versus Holder case. We are seeing that now with the rollback of affirmative action, with the rollback of DEI programs. We're seeing all of that right now, as Dr. Anderson says, because the thing that scares and feeds white male rage more than anything is Black advancement or Black progress. And lo and behold, here we are now with a Black female vice president and a Black secretary of defense. All of that progress really, really scares and causes great angst and white rage, especially among white men. And I'm going to explain why. And Trump knows how to tap into that better than anyone that I have seen in my lifetime. Better than any president that I've seen in my lifetime. I thought Ronald Reagan was good. Trump takes it to a whole new level. All right, so let's go back to Dr. Anderson. Again, she says the trigger for white rage is Black advancement. It is not the mere presence of Black people that is the problem. Rather, it is Blackness with ambition, with drive, with purpose, with aspirations, and with demands for full and equal citizenship.
And y'all, when we own our purpose like that, you know, all them things that he just read, you know, we should keep that going in the face of this, you know, white rage. You know, we shouldn't allow our progress to be stopped on account of, you know, such things making them uncomfortable. You know what I'm saying? Because, you know, they don't stop in reverse. They don't stop doing what they doing. You know, they'll fight tooth and nail to keep that stuff going. So why should we stop doing what we doing? You get what I'm saying?
And that's what we do as African Americans. Some of us, we keep pushing, we keep prodding, we keep protesting, we keep marching, we keep going into the court system, because some of us understand that we don't have full equality yet. And that's what we want. We want full equality, not half, not 2/3, not 1/4, but full equality.
And it's crazy to know that after all these decades, we still working towards that. You know, we still working towards that full equality. You know, a lot of things have changed from the 60s to the 2024s, but then again, not much has changed either. So it's both sides of the proverbial coin here.
And that's what triggers white rage. It is Blackness that refuses to accept subjugation, to give up. A formidable array of policy assaults and legal contortions has consistently pushed back resilience, Black resolve. That is so very, very, very true. Now, Black conservatives aren't triggering any white rage because they are in support of white supremacy. They are okay with the turning back, the rolling back of affirmative action. In fact, one black man, Clarence Thomas, helped to turn back affirmative action. That same black
Sure
man
did.
helped to roll back the Voting Rights Act of 1965.
And also he helped to get rid of Roe v. Wade. And I think I mentioned this in another video, but leading up to that court case in 2022, him and Samuel Alito, they was doing some interviews, and they was on record pretty much talking about how they was not going to be bullied when it came to whatever decision they made. And I read that and I shook my head then, and I shake my head now. It's like, no, nobody is bullying you. You know, all the American people is doing is asking you to be on the right side of history. That's not bullying. Let's keep it going, y'all.
So black conservatives see things completely different. Not only are they not triggering white rage, they are getting handsomely rewarded for standing shoulder to shoulder with white males who are trying to turn back civil rights for African Americans. They're getting all sort of perks and privileges and positions and so forth. All right, now, Dr. Anderson goes on to say, and all the while, white rage manages to maintain not only the upper hand, but also apparently the moral high ground. Now, I want you to listen carefully at this. It's Giuliani chastising black people to fix problems in their own neighborhoods instead of always scapegoating the police. It's the endless narratives about a culture of black poverty that devalues education, hard work, family, and ambition. It's a mantra told so often that some African Americans themselves have come to believe it, again, like the black conservatives. Few even think anymore to question the stories, the studies of black fathers abandoning their children, of rampant drug use in black neighborhoods, of African American children hating education because school is acting white, all of which have been disproved but remain foundational in American lore. So all of that has been disproved, all of that black men are horrible fathers, that it's black culture that's causing all these issues, all of that has been disproved because the core of the issues facing African Americans is not black culture, it's white culture. It is the evils inside of white culture. As a matter of fact, I'm planning a video entitled, What's More Evil, White Culture or Black Culture? Because black culture, you listen to white and black conservatives, everything is all about how horrible black culture is. And racism is doing nothing. Systemic racism, slavery, Jim Crow has done nothing to bring about the issues we see in the black community. It's all about black culture. That is a lie. I'm going to bring that out in an upcoming video. All right, so how does Trump, how does he tap into, how does he radicalize white male rage so effectively? Now, in the event that there are some of you out there who are saying, what are you talking about? That is not happening. Black folk just need to work harder. Black people need to rebuild the black family. Black people need to stay out of the criminal justice system. Well, as Dr. Anderson just said, those things, while we certainly do need to stay out of the criminal justice system, we certainly need to build strong black families. We certainly need to be hardworking, which most of us are. Those things are not the root of the problems that you see in the African American community.
That is very true, y'all.
We cannot buy into these white conservative narratives that absolves systemic racism, that essentially says not only is there no systemic racism, but blacks are the ones now who are racist.
And let me say something else too. I get the points that he's making, but I also want to say that, you know, I do agree with the notion that, well, no, it's not even a notion. I do agree that not everything that happens to us is the result of racism. I do believe that. Is racism apparent in this country? Yes. Is it alive and well? Yes, it is. but that's not the be all end all regarding our progress. Is it present in some cases? Yes, but that doesn't make up every single thing that we go through. So I also get the frustration on behalf of us whenever somebody is held accountable, the first thing they want to go to is racism. It's not always about this. So I'm with that talking point, if you will.
That's a white conservative narrative that black conservatives have picked up, and they are out here telling us this stuff, causing many blacks to support Trump, listening to that foolishness. All right, let's keep working it. I now want to read you a letter that a white law firm wrote to the Howard University Medical School.
Check
This
this out,
letter
y'all.
shows you how white male rage is working, as Dr. Anderson said, in a covert, clandestine way. All right, let's go to this letter. It's dated July 6, 2023, and the letter was issued shortly after the affirmative action case that basically gutted affirmative action. So I'm not going to read the whole letter, but you see, again, it is written to Howard University College of Medicine, and it's from this white conservative law group here, Liberty Justice Center. And by the way, we too have a law center that fights for justice, the Lazarus Law and Justice Project. Our website is lljp.org. We want to build the Lazarus Law and Justice Project into something that can fight what we see happening across our country. Okay? All right. I'm going to go ahead and just jump to the bottom of this letter because that's where the juice is. I mean, the first part, all they did was just said, hey, the affirmative action case has been handed down in the U.S. Supreme Court, essentially has gutted affirmative action. Therefore, and it's this last paragraph that I want us to read, in accordance with the Supreme Court decision in Students for Fair Admissions, Inc., your medical school must immediately cease any and all policies, practices, programs, or procedures that include a racial component. Look at this. This includes any diversity, equity, and inclusion policies. Consequently, to the extent your medical school fails to immediately comply with the Supreme Court's recent decision, Liberty Justice Center will actively engage in strategic litigation to vindicate the fundamental constitutional rights of those individuals whose rights have been violated.
Y'all hear this arrogance here?
So they issued this threat to the storied Howard University Medical School. I mean, we got to take a step back and understand what this is all about. Howard University Medical Center is located in DC, and most of its students are African Americans. The medical school produces physicians that serve, oftentimes, predominantly low-income African American communities, putting doctors in those communities who are not focused on making money so much as they are providing good medical care to try to deal with the disparities that are in the healthcare system. And here, despite that mission and that good work, they're sending a letter to the Howard University Medical School threatening them to stop any sort of program that they deem, that whites deem as violative of the affirmative action case.
Yeah, because usually that's how you got to get their point across, by making threats.
That is white male rage. You don't see any angry terms here. You don't see the N-word. You don't see any of that. But the strategic litigation that they threaten is aimed to really impact Howard University's mission of providing health care to low-income neighborhoods. Again, it is white male rage. So
Yep.
what they did was they got the court, which consists of 6 conservative justices, 1 black, to gut affirmative action.
And those conservatives, specifically the ones that came as a result of Trump, yeah, they're gonna be on the bench for the next probably 30 to 40 years.
And
y'all.
now look at what has happened. Look at the slippery slope now. So they don't stop with the universities. They don't stop with undergraduate admissions at the universities. Now they're going at HBCU medical schools.
And making it
Next,
clear
it'll
too.
be HBCU engineering schools, HBCU nursing schools, HBCU law schools. And they won't stop there. They've already sued this company, Fearless Funds, I think the name of it is, African-American women who were providing seed money to African-American female-owned businesses that needed money, that typically cannot get money from Small Business Administration, can't get money from capital venturalists and those other, methods of raising money for small businesses. No. So what these sisters did with this Fearless Funds is they began to raise their own money. But this same crowd has now gone after them. And it's not going to stop there. Your job is at stake because in their mind, you took the position of a white male. In their minds, you are a diversity hire. In their minds, you are an equity and inclusion hire. In other words, you're not qualified to be on your job. You took that job from a more qualified white guy. That is white male rage. Trump leads that movement. And why any black person would support Trump as he leads a movement to dismantle the rights that you and I have. They're coming for all of that because they have rage. They're angry. I'm going to get into that so that you'll see why they're doing the things they're doing to undermine our progress.
And just look at this picture. I mean, a picture says 1,000 words, right? But when you look at a picture like this, the first word that comes to mind is rage. White rage.
Advancement. All right, now, why does Trump resonate with white male rage so effectively? Why do they listen to him so closely? Why are they so connected to him? Why are they so in support of him? Well, there are a few reasons. One, Trump is a con man. He's using them because he doesn't have the issue that the everyday, ordinary white man has. He doesn't have their issues. Trump was born a millionaire.
Yep.
Trump's father gave him $1 million to start life with. Trump don't know anything about the issues most working white men know anything about. He doesn't know anything about trying to pay a light bill. He doesn't know anything about trying to put food on the table. He doesn't know anything about trying to keep your job. He doesn't know anything about that.
And he damn sure does not understand any plight of the black experience. And I'm using experience as a key word here. He doesn't have any idea on what that is and what it's about.
The only thing he shared with those white men is the same skin color and the same ideology. Yet, they just follow him and other rich white men right off the cliff.
Worshippers.
I tell you what the sleeping giant in this country is. The sleeping giant is when working people of all colors, ethnicities in this country say no to being used by rich white people. In other words, when poor whites, poor blacks, working whites, working blacks, working Latinos, and so on say we're not going to be We're not going to allow them to divide us anymore, pit us against each other anymore. No, we're not going to do that. But so many working white people, they feel like, well, at least I'm better than those people. At least I got a leg up on them. And if I don't fight them, then they're going to get what little bit I got. You see, Trump is of that rich class that has been using white and black people and pitting them against each other for years. That's where he comes from.
Yep.
All right. So he's a con man. Second, they're all white supremacists. What do I mean by that? I'm not saying they're the kinds who will go out here and put on robes and burn, again, crosses in your yards. No, I'm not saying that. That's not what I mean when I say white supremacy. But they believe that white men should control and rule this country. That's a white supremacist, because white supremacy thinks that whites are superior and therefore they should be in control.
And then I must step in and ask, why are some of us chomping at the bit to be at the table and trying to break bread with individuals who don't want you there? I mean, why?
That's a white supremacist. I don't care how nice they are. I don't care if you go out and eat lunch together. If in their minds and hearts they think that white men should rule America, then that person is a white supremacist. And so they're all white supremacists. They fear the nation's racial demographic changes. It is predicted, and it's been predicted a long time, that America will become a minority-majority country. In other words, minorities will be the majority in this country. And that scares white men in particular, because for the last 400 years, they have been the majority and they have ran this. And now they see evidences of that coming to an end, or at least changing. And that triggers that white rage. Their fears were confirmed by Obama, right? So we got Trump because we got Obama.
That's true. And let me stop right here. Shout out to Obama. Even looking back at his presidency, and I've said this before, that as time goes on, I think time is going to be more kind to his legacy than what we may know of it right now. And again, I'll say this. Did I agree with Obama on everything? No. Was he perfect? No. Could he have been more effective in a lot of areas? Yes. But let's keep it clear. He was one of the definitions of what a president should be like, and yes, I'll say it again. He wasn't perfect. There were areas where he should have been more effective in, I'll grant that, I also said that he should have been the one to nominate a black woman to the Supreme Court. He should have did that. So, but let's be clear, I mean, history is going to be kind to his legacy, I think, in over time, And yes, we'll still have our criticisms and critiques and all that. That's fine, So I just wanted to step in and say that.
That's the only reason Trump was elected in the first place.
And let me say this too. I mentioned this in another video, and I believe it was in one of those Trump effect videos. The moment that Obama clapped back at Trump, during that White House Correspondents' Dinner, and when Trump was in the audience, seething and pretty much pounding like a big ass baby, that's when he decided he wanted to run for president. Without it, we wouldn't be in this mess now, and we wouldn't have had Trump. I'm still convinced of that. That's the only reason he ran. He did not run because he wanted to do this country any good. He did not run because he had an interest in politics or anything like that. He ran because of the clapback. He rightly got clapped back, but you see how they act when they get held accountable, right? But I digress.
Because Obama was elected and then reelected. Trump is their guy to try to put this black progress and black advancement back in the bottle, right? So Obama and most white males voted for Obama's opposition both times. John McCain the first time, Mitt Romney the second time. Most white men voted against Obama because Obama was what? Their worst nightmare.
And God rest John McCain. So I don't really have too much negative to say about him. I'm aware of his history, but I don't have anything negative to say about him, especially since he's no longer with us. You know, Mitt Romney, I wouldn't agree with him on much, but the one thing I would say about those men is that at least they knew how to act like they had some damn sense and carried themselves with dignity, even if it was conservative dignity. I could see myself in a room having something regarding a disciplined conversation with Mitt Romney, even if we wouldn't agree on much. I wouldn't leave the room pulling my hair out, even though I don't have no hair to pull out. You get what I'm saying? I would not be able to be in a room with Trump for 5 minutes and have anything resembling a decent, well-rounded conversation. The only thing I would be able to have a conversation with him about is Sharpies. That's it, because I like Sharpies just as much as he do, if not more. That's probably one of the only things I got in common with Donald damn Trump. Okay, let's keep it moving.
Oh my God, we're losing the country. Oh my God, this black man with a Middle Eastern name, Barack Hussein Obama.
I want my country back. Back from who? Back from what? What was taken from you? Remember that, y'all?
And Trump, he began to float the lie that he's not even a citizen. Oh my God, we're losing the country. We're losing America. Is there anybody who can help us?
And was it, okay, my people, let me ask y'all, did any of y'all believe that? Did any of y'all believe that Obama wasn't born here or he was in the White House illegally? Did any of y'all believe that? And if so, why?
And Trump says, I'm glad to. I'm happy to, because I'm concerned about losing the country too. I too am a white man. And as a matter of fact, I'm going to spend my money to prove that he shouldn't even be in office. I'm going to spend my money and give anybody what I think, didn't he pledge $5 million to prove that Obama was not a citizen? And they couldn't do it. But when he stepped out in opposition to Obama like that, he, at that moment, became their star. So they said, here we got a blatant white supremacist who has a whole lot of money, who has no morals, and he will do whatever is needed to protect white male hegemony.
And let me present another example here. So you have the issue with Obama's birth certificate. Why doesn't he show his birth certificate? Like, what is it to you? And then you keep pressing at it and pressing at it until then, Obama's like, fine, let's put this to rest. But then when Trump was in office and, he refused to do what other presidents did, and that was, show his tax returns, present them. It was like pulling teeth to get him to do that, and still doing that whole 4-year period, he didn't do it. It was only after he left office that he was, forced to do it, and that was through the courts. Otherwise, he wouldn't have shown a damn thing. Now, me, I don't have no interest in seeing what's on his tax returns, but the mere fact of, he didn't do it, whereas previous presidents did it, it's crazy. But then if a Democrat turned around and did that same thing, you'll chastise him, but with Trump, it's okay, right? Got it.
White male dominance. And he tapped into that and made the announcement that I could murder somebody on Fifth Avenue and they won't do a thing, because
right.
he knew these folks need me, and I have tapped into their rage, and I share their rage. Are you with me? Now,
we with you.
The thing that blows my mind is the fact that you got black men who are on board with this. That's what blows my mind. and some black females as well. So that their
Yep.
fears were confirmed by the election and re-election of Barack Obama. Trump radicalized their fears. I mean, we heard it. So when he came down the escalator in his New York building there and said they're sending us their worst, they're rapists, they're murderers, etc., he was tapping into their fears. When he stood and gave that speech after the 2020 election and said that if you don't be strong, you're going to lose your country, all of that was tapping into the fears of white men and tapping into their rage. He said many, 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 many other things, right? I'll talk about in just a moment how he specifically radicalized their fears. White male rage also came about because white men, by and large, embraced the lie of reverse discrimination. In other words, if the country, with the addition of the 14th Amendment, does anything to try to give black folks just a little bit of leg up so that they can begin to start getting on parity, so that they can begin to start experiencing full equality, white men consider that to be reverse discrimination. It's like they've had their knee on our necks, like Derek Chauvin. And to take that knee up a little bit, to them, is reverse discrimination. Just to take that knee up some, so you can get some air. In their minds, that's reverse discrimination. And it's oppression. Because if you've been used to having total control, absolute power, and you now got to share 5% of it, that's oppression. And that triggers white rage. So they, as a result of this reverse discrimination, they resent the civil rights movement. Have you noticed, they are attacking Martin Luther King. They are going after the civil rights movement because they resent all of that. If you listen to North Carolina gubernatorial candidate Mark Robinson, he says that civil rights is a bunch of crap.
Now, I did a video on this guy. If you go through my archives, you can check out my video on him. I did a video on him.
He says that too many freedoms were lost. Who is he talking about? Who lost freedoms?
Exactly.
Black Americans gained freedoms. So who is he talking about when he says too many freedoms were lost as a result of the Civil Rights Act of '64 and the Voting Rights Act? He's speaking on behalf of white men.
Exactly.
Right? And that's why he has been rising and rising and rising and rising and rising, almost to become the governor of the state of North Carolina, because he's speaking for white men. He's not speaking for black men. He's speaking for white men. So is Tim Scott. So is Clarence Thomas. So is Candace Owens. So are some of these YouTubers.
Yep.
They say little subtle things, right? Have you noticed? Some of them will not just come right out and say, I'm a Trump supporter. They say subtle things. They just throw it in there. They just throw it in there a little bit. But the impact is, especially on people who are not knowledgeable, who doesn't know history, the impact is you need to support Trump or you don't need to support Biden.
Right. And let me stop it right there. It makes me think back to that podcast I listened to sometime last year. I'm not going to give the name, but I remember it was a group of black men on there. And one guy came on there and he just pretty much half-heartedly said, and this is in regards to Trump, he said, I hope he get back in for real. Oh my goodness. Let's carry on, y'all. But yeah, like I say, just real like nonchalant with it. I hope he get back in for real. Whatever, man.
Not supporting Biden is supporting Trump. Don't let nobody fool you here, because we got two people. Okay, Kennedy, R.F. Kennedy Jr., I think his name is. He may get into the race, and of course, there's Cornel West. And let me address Dr. West here for a second. I love Dr. Cornel West. I think I need to do an entire video on Dr. Cornel. I love Dr. Cornel West. He's a
Yeah, pardon me. Yeah, I got respect for this brother. Now correct me if I'm wrong, but I think he withdrew his candidacy. And regarding RFK Jr., I think he's still in the race. But looking at that guy's numbers and some of the things that are coming out about him, he literally has no chance at an independent candidacy.
good
But let's
brother.
keep it going.
He's a brilliant brother. He's a genius. And I agree with a lot of his positions. He has a good heart. He loves Black people. I've learned a lot from Dr. West. I've read Dr. West's books. But Dr. West does not have a chance to win the presidency.
Nope.
That's just the way it is. I wish he did. I wish he did. But right
It
now,
would be
supporting Dr. West would be essentially supporting Donald Trump, a man who is leading the effort. Trump is leading the effort to dismantle everything precious for African Americans. Now he comes around and he smiles and he got some Black friends. He got Black rapper friends and some other Black friends and so on. Okay. And he will insult us with stuff like I've done more for Black Americans than anybody since Lincoln.
it was a lie.
That is so disrespectful. First, it's untrue.
Yep.
It's patronizing. It sounds like he's talking to about 5-year-old children. I've done so much for you all. I've done more for you all than your mamas and your daddies.
And then let me stop it right there, right quick. So, and then when he says that comment, then you have a group of us actually, sitting down and trying to get philosophical about it. Like, let me see exactly if that's true. Instead of taking it for the nonsense that it is. But let's keep it moving.
I've done more for you all than that King man, and more for you all than Harriet Tubman and Frederick Douglass. I'm your savior. I believe he knows how offensive that is. I don't believe he's that stupid. But he doesn't care. Just like he didn't care when he said, what do you have to lose supporting me? Your schools are no good. Your neighborhood no good. You all are no good. So what do you have to lose?
And wouldn't do a damn thing to improve any of that. Nothing at all.
So that's the way you ask for our vote? Come on. Come on. All right, merit versus DEI. This really gets me because white men over 400 years of this country are not in the positions they're in, having been nearly all the presidents, most of the senators, most of the House members, most of the CEOs, university presidents, corporation CEOs, and on, union bosses and everything. They haven't gotten those positions because of merit. They have gotten those positions because they created a system that highly favored white men. How can you say that you got what you got by merit when you forced other people to do your work for 250 years? What? What? How is that merit? And then how do you claim merit when then you created a Jim Crow system for 100 years? That's not merit. What white men did was they took our labor and took our money that we worked for. They took that from us. And that happened until the 60s. And it's still happening. So how do they claim merit when most of the money they have gotten it through the enslavement, the subjugation, and oppression of Black people? That's not merit. I mean, give me a break.
Right.
Stop peeing on my leg and saying it's raining. We're not fools. Some of us are uninformed, and
That's for damn
we're out here trying to inform our brothers,
right.
but we're not fools.
Nope.
You haven't gotten what you've gotten.
We have some foolish elements in our community, y'all. I ain't gonna deny that. But at the end of the day, we're not fools. We're not dumb.
Because of merit. It's because you built a system, a nation that rewards you merely because you're a white male. So let's keep it real. They fear the loss of power, right? We talked about that. The loss of power feels to them like oppression.
And they have no idea what it feels like to be oppressed.
I mean, that's why they are in the streets, storming the Capitol building, etc., because to have to share a little power with African American people.
And the majority of them was, protesting on the college campuses recently. And it's clear to me and others that they don't give one single solitary damn about what's going on over there in Israel and Palestine.
Is oppression to them. Like I said, if you're used to absolute power, 90, 100%, and you now must share 5%, that's going to feel like a seismic shift. That's going to feel like oppression. You're still 95% in control. But yeah, I don't want to give up that 5%. That to them feels like oppression. They don't know what oppression is.
Exactly. Word to the mother.
All right, so question then becomes, what methods does Trump uses to radicalize white male rage? I got a few things. One, as we said earlier, he's a con man, but also he's an unapologetic white supremacist. He doesn't apologize for it. He says what comes to his mind. He expresses his white supremacy blatantly, and they love that. They love that because he's saying what they are afraid to say. He's saying and behaving the way they want to, but are afraid to because they may lose their jobs. But they cheer him on and they support him. And the very thing that you and I, as African Americans, may find offensive about him is the very thing they love. His unapologetic white supremacy. They love it. So when we're sitting thinking, well, now him saying that will definitely mean that they're going to stop supporting him. No. They enjoy that. They laugh. They love seeing him say that stuff because that's how they feel.
And at the end of the day, it's nothing but sheer entertainment.
That's the way they feel. Almost like when Malcolm X used to say things that many black people felt and thought, but would never say.
Them two brothers died for the cause, man. Still miss them.
That feeling that folks had for Malcolm and for Dr. King, right? Those men who were courageous enough to say the things that we felt and thought. We loved them the more. Are you with me? And it's the reason why he was called the courage of black men when he got assassinated. I'm talking about Malcolm. And it's the reason why we love Dr. King today, because he became a martyr. He was murdered because he said the things that we felt, believed in our souls. That's the way they see Trump. He says the things, the racist, white supremacist stuff that they feel and want to say, but are afraid to. Second, he's unafraid to use angry, racist rhetoric and gestures, especially toward blacks. Right? So he says things like blacks are supporting him because of his mugshot. No, that's offensive. He says that
Clearly.
blacks are supporting him because blacks identify with him and that he's being unjustly prosecuted.
And without saying it, you're pretty much saying that black people, we support criminal behavior. So by that logic, we support you. Now, again, like I said in the previous video, there are some elements in our community that do support criminal behavior, okay? But that does not speak for the majority of the black community, okay? I don't support criminal behavior. I sure don't. And neither should you. But then again, us as adults, we shouldn't have to say such things. But you having a mugshot, hell no, that's not gonna make me more likely to support you. I mean, come on now.
That man knows nothing about being unjustly treated by the criminal justice system. I work in the criminal justice system as an attorney, and trust you me, rich white men are not unjustly treated in the criminal justice system. Just one thing, for example, in every one of his cases, he has an army of lawyers.
Yep.
The black men I represent in the criminal justice system, most of them have to take court-appointed lawyers and then have to work double jobs to pay private lawyers to represent them. They have nothing in common with Donald Trump. Nothing.
Exactly. Nothing at all.
Nothing. I don't understand why any black man would feel like, well, he's getting persecuted. Dude.
Hashtag Stephen A. Smith.
What are you talking about? I could say more. He lies incessantly until they believe it. The man has no honesty whatsoever. He'll lie, just flat out lie. Just lie.
Yep.
Because he knows he says it enough, eventually it's going to get down to his base. And they're going to repeat it.
And then if he says it in such a manner where it comes off as believable, and then you're doing little hand gestures and you got your little posture when you're sitting at a table across from somebody or something like that, that adds to it too. But you got to learn how to dissect that. Just because you come off in such a way, that doesn't make what you're saying true, okay?
Just because Trump's. That's another very effective method of his. He's brazen, like John Wayne or Dirty Harry, right? The Clint Eastwood character. He's brazen like them. I mean, they love that.
And on the side note, y'all, I've never seen Dirty Harry. I've seen quite a few Clint Eastwood movies, but I've never seen any of the Dirty Harry movies. just thought I add
They're
that.
thinking that men like Dirty Harry and John Wayne, the Mulberry Man, were the kind of men who conquered this country, were the kind of men who took this land from the natives and then brought blacks over here and subjugated them to slavery. So when he behaves that way, that's exactly that white male spirit that they celebrate. And they embrace it because in their minds, they're saying, that's the man we need to take back our country. We're not going to take it back with these nice white guys. They're white supremacists too, but they're not mean enough. They're not ugly enough. They're not brazen enough. But Trump is. I actually heard a white pastor say that. Robert Jeffries, who pastors the First Baptist Church here in Dallas, one of the biggest churches here in Dallas, I mean, in the country. I heard him say out of his own mouth, someone asked him, well, it seems that you Christians, you white Christians, have always talked about electing somebody, who got good morals, who's a committed Christian and so forth. He said, no. We don't want that kind anymore. We want, these are his words, we want a mean son of a gun.
And see, this is a guy who will probably look at somebody like Barack Obama as the scum of the earth, but look at Donald Trump as the king of kings, or should I say the king of all kings, right? Got it.
We want a mean, unscrupulous son of a gun who will get in there and do anything and whatever to win, to take back this country, to keep us from losing this country. That came out of the mouth of a preacher, a white preacher, Robert Jeffries. Said, no, we don't want no good Christian man. See, I'm old enough to remember when that's exactly what they said they wanted. There was a movement called the Moral Majority that was started by Ronald Reagan and Jerry Falwell. And it was all about, we want a moral man, a Christian man. Now, this man is nothing close to a Christian.
Nope.
And I'm not judging his heart. I'm not judging him like I'm Jesus. But we all see for ourselves.
Yeah, we know.
We all see for ourselves. Okay. He tells them to reject shame and guilt for white supremacy. He tells them not to apologize for being white supremacists. That's how what he's trying to say to them is, that's how we took this country. That's how we built it, being strong white supremacists. Stop being ashamed. Stop feeling guilty for being strong white supremacists. They love him for that. They love him for that. Yay, yay. The crowds roar when he says stuff like that.
Or the minority white man audience, they be in the background. Yeah. Y'all know how they do.
The crowds roar with those red MAGA hats and Confederate flags and so on. They roar.
Yeah.
Because in their minds, this is the guy. This is the one we've been waiting for.
Yeah.
He's the one. No shame, no guilt. And that's why, before Trump hit the scene, white racists like that were racist, but they kind of kept to themselves.
In the damn closet.
They knew the wrong word could end their careers.
Yep.
I remember Trent Lott, Senator Trent Lott, who was majority leader back in the 80s, I think it was.
Bless his heart.
Who praised Strom Thurmond, a segregationist, a senator from South Carolina. Just that praise of Strom Thurmond cost Trent Lott his leadership position.
I remember that video too. Now that's something you would see today as opposed to years back. But let's keep it going.
Effectively ended his career. But that was then. This is now.
Yeah.
What has happened now? And you're thinking Donald Trump. No. What has happened now is Barack Obama. Keep in mind, there is no Trump without Obama.
That is true.
It was Obama who got their attention.
Mm-hmm.
So now that Obama was elected and reelected, then they said, we got to come out of our bags and just go ahead on and just be who we are. White supremacists.
And like I said before, and like other people have said, during that whole period from the moment he came down them escalators in Trump Tower all the way up to January 6, 2021, they showed their natural asses during that whole period. We seen it, granted, we're not seeing it as much now, and it's still scary to wonder why we're not seeing it. But okay, the less carnage and chaos, the better. But during that period that I just mentioned, they showed their natural asses, every last one of them. Every week we saw something or heard something or read something.
And that's what Trump said. Don't feel guilty. Don't be ashamed. Be white supremacists. Otherwise, you're going to lose this country. He expresses his grievances, and he's full of them, right?
White trauma bonding. Remember that? White trauma bonding.
He is, we've been told over the years that blacks are always crying victim this and victim that and victim this and victim that. There is no one who plays the victim card more than Donald Trump.
Exactly.
The election was stolen from him.
Bullshit.
The Department of Justice has been weaponized against him. And what he's so clever and effective at is he will take his stuff and wrap it up in the American flag and say that when they hold me accountable, they're bringing down the country. They are attacking the country. So he so effectively makes his grievances the country's grievances or theirs. The white men who have, working white men who have nothing in common with Trump other than skin color, will start parroting his grievances.
Right.
You know, some white men feel like we're losing our jobs, things are bad, like black folks did it. Like we're the reason jobs went to Mexico or jobs went to China. We're not in any position to send anybody's jobs anywhere. We're trying to just find jobs and keep jobs.
That's right.
It is rich white men who sent jobs south of the border or to China, not black people. Yet working white men want to blame black folks
For every damn thing.
and they pick up the grievances of Trump. Make that make sense. He camouflages his immorality by presenting himself as a strong, indomitable white man.
And there's nothing strong about this guy. Nothing. He's no alpha male or anything like that. There's nothing strong about him. Yeah, he can talk a good game. I give him that. But then when you try to hold him accountable or anything like that, then you want to cry and pout and run around with your lips poked out talking about some, why they doing this to me or why they doing that to me or whatever the fuck. Excuse my
That's
French.
so important. Like, a white man who doesn't break, doesn't give up, doesn't bend, doesn't apologize, doesn't ask for forgiveness. Strong. All of that endeared him to white male rage, because that is, in their mind, a strong leader.
And there's nothing strong about him.
To see that, again, indomitable spirit. Now, the man is immoral, but he camouflages it. Right? He does stuff and say, essentially, I'm fighting for you. And I don't ask for forgiveness. I don't say I'm sorry. I did what I did in a strategic move to get where I'm trying to go. So if somebody was hurt or killed or whatever, then, oh well. And I will end with this. There is no comparison between Joe Biden and Donald Trump.
And that's 100% correct, 100% accurate.
There is no comparison, no equivalency between Joe Biden and Donald Trump.
None.
Like there was no comparison between Trump and Obama. None. This man is off the charts. Off the charts with his rhetoric, with his tics, with his white supremacy, with his immorality, with his lying, off the charts. And, he loves these strong men. He loves them. And so much so that white males are following right behind him as he embraces Putin. I mean, Donald Trump is so off the charts with his immorality and so on. Even his former vice president will not endorse him for president. That
speaks
is
volumes.
Look, forget everything I just said. You ain't got to listen to me. Forget what I said. His vice president who served with him, covered him, protected him, lied for him, and almost died for him, will not endorse him. Nor will former chiefs of staffs, nor will folks throughout his administration, the Secretary of the Department of Defense. I mean, just down the line, people who agree with him, who are white supremacists just like him. So outdone by this man, they will not endorse him. Yet, you have Black YouTubers who are telling Black folks to endorse him.
Right. They know who they are.
Or don't endorse Joe Biden so that he can be elected. A man that his own vice president will not endorse.
Exactly.
That speaks volumes.
It does.
So I wanted to show you how Trump radicalizes white male rage against Black progress. These folks think that every inch of Black progress is an inch of white male oppression. I'll say it again. They believe that every inch, centimeter, millimeter of Black advancement, Black progress is space they have lost as white men. That's how determined they are for there not to be Black progress and Black advancement. And when there is, that triggers that white male rage. And Trump feeds on it, he capitalizes on it, he leverages it. And he has profited from it.
Yep.
All right. I am Attorney Augustus Corbett.
All right. So shout out to him. That was a great video. I hope you all enjoyed that. Yeah, it was lengthy, but the content is key here. He spit some facts, and like I said, go subscribe to that channel if you haven't done so already. They got some great videos, and like I said, they get real detailed with it, especially when it comes to politics. Now, from here, I just want to end on a couple of notes. First off, to the Black conservatives, if you're listening to this, my brothers and sisters, at the end of the day, if you still want to stick with that side, that's on you. If you still want to support Trump, that's on you. I'm not here to tell you who to vote for, okay? But at the end of the day, I know, and I think the majority of us know which party has our best interests at heart, and it's not the Republican Party, okay? Let me make that clear. And to everybody else who votes and stuff like that, I'm asking you, please use your vote wisely, and for the life of me, do not stay at home. We're not going to get anything accomplished if we stay at home. That's one thing. And I end on this note. Now, this is a free one to the, oh, hell no, not to the Republican Party. This is a free one to the Democratic Party, as well as anybody who supports, the liberal agenda, the left-wing agenda, whatever you want to call it. I give this one for free to the Republicans, and this is directed to the Republicans. You gaslight with grievances, we govern with grace. And with that being said, y'all, I'm done with this particular video, and it was great going through it. Another reaction video in the books. So if you like what you heard and you're ready to become part of Team Discipline, go ahead and hit that like button and drop some comments if you're feeling the content. And last but not least, hit that subscribe button along with the bell so you're notified when I drop new videos. And until next time, my people, take care of yourselves. And remember, the power of the mind is valuable.